Marundeshwara Enterprises was started in 1993 as a hotel marketing company. We represented single property hotels across India which did not have sales support in Chennai. So we used to market them to the corporates and the travel agents in Chennai, where we used to offer them instant reservations at that time. The communication at that time was only through, there were no emails, only through telex and fax. So locally people could call us over a local telephone and we could give them instant bookings across India. That's where we started. And then one of the conferences held in Chennai wanted to use our services for booking rooms for their delegates arriving from different parts of the country to attend the conference. And we collaborated with them. We offered them the service of booking rooms. And during the course of the conference, we realized that we could offer much more than just booking rooms for them.
Actually, it was a very interesting take on this, because people were a little wary of using an external agency to take care of the nitty-gritty or the logistics of a conference. So when we stepped in, yes, we did face I won't say resistance, a little reluctance at that point, where one of the doctors told us he has built 4 houses and conducted 2 weddings, so doing a conference was an easy play. But we were truly happy when the same doctor a few years later came and told, we know the worth of what Marundeshwara can do as a conference management team, as a PCO, and he gave us all his conferences. Actually, when we named our organization as Marundeshwara, few of the people whom we are dealing with said, it's a little bit of a tongue twister, why don't you choose an easy name? But we had an affiliation or a connect to this name, and we wanted to continue. And it so happened, Marundeshwara means the Ishvara who looks after the health, the medicine, and we do a lot of medical conferences. You could call it a coincidence or you could call it a divine intervention. So when we started in 93, one of the first conferences we did was an international one on cholinesterase, with the main organizer sitting in Washington DC, working for the Walter Reed Institute, and we were in Chennai, and he wanted to do the conference in Chennai. It was a challenge, but it was a wonderful challenge, because we had 90% of the participants coming from world over, and connecting up with them on those days of no emails and no STDs and international calls direct. But we did, and it was a very, very successful conference. I'm going to ask Gautam to talk about his experience of taking these people on a trip to Mysore and the excitement.
Yeah, I'd like to start with the communication. Those days, communication, we didn't have emails, we didn't have laptops, we didn't have PCs in the office. So we had to use fax as the basic mode of communication between the USA and India. And we didn't even have a fax machine in the office those days. The fax was outsourced. So we used to collect the fax, type the message in our office, and then again go back to the sender and send the fax. So communication was very primitive, but we managed to do, as she rightly pointed out, a very successful conference. We faced many challenges at that time, and that was a time when we had the plague in Gujarat, and all these international delegates had to be vaccinated before they were sent back, and they were on a tour to Masinagudi and Mysore. So we had to arrange a doctor who would come to their hotel overnight, vaccinate all these 200-300 people and send them to their respective flights from Bangalore.
Every conference is a challenge, and every conference brings us a learning experience. We learn something new with every conference and how to handle that situation. When we talk about international conferences, we have to look at the various aspects of their coming into India and their cultural preferences on what they would like to do in India. At the same time, we had I won't say funny, but a very strange request in one of the international conferences. And one of the delegates from Japan. So when he was asking, can you help me with something? So I thought he needed a room or he needed to do some sightseeing. He said, I want to meet Rajinikanth. And then when we told him he's not in town, which was really the truth, he said, can I see a movie of his? Unfortunately, at that time, this movie was not playing anywhere in the city. So we organized somebody to take him to a suburb and let him get the feel of a movie in a theatre. He was overjoyed. You remember, Gautam, that?
We were going out of the way to satisfy a customer or a client's request. Also, very small things like the badges that we use for the conferences, the registration system as it is. Initially, we used to write names on the badges that were given to the delegates, which we improved to printing. And then even then we used to face a challenge where it was taking time for people to find their badges, in the sense that people had a first name, surname. They used to come and ask for the badges by their surname, and there would be multiple people who have surnames. So we moved from just the names to numbers and registration numbers, which made the registration process itself much faster. And later on, as we progressed, this became a standard in the industry, and the process was adopted by many more of our contemporaries. Another interesting thing was when we did our first conference in Cochin in 2007, where we used totally eco-friendly materials in all the publicity materials, in the signage, in the backdrop, with the Kerala theme. So that was really an innovation which was very well appreciated by everybody.
So when it comes to challenges, we have faced many, and as I said, this is every conference is a challenge, because what it brings about, what the ask from the client is different for each of them, and we try to meet or go the extra mile. The go the extra mile is our motto of our organization, and like one of the doctors said, we need Marundeshwara not to just do what we ask them to do, but to go that extra mile and give us something new into the program, and which is innovative. Like a simple thing, those days when we used to book tickets, it was not easy to do web check-in and get a boarding pass, which the client had to do themselves. But once we started doing this, it's a simple thing, but it takes that much time from the doctor, who has taken away time from his academic clinical commitments to be part of this conference. So when we do this web check-in and give them the boarding card, the first time we did it, we got so much of accolades on that. So these are small things which we have to keep innovate. And finally, how much ever we do of computerization systems, the human element is very important.
Yeah, similarly, we had challenges with getting right sort of manpower, temporary manpower that used during the conferences, and we had to find ways by which we could circumvent this problem. We tied up with the catering colleges initially, where they offered us service of their students who would come and participate and help us with these conferences, and they would also get an experience of a learning of how they could get involved and part of their curriculum in managing conferences. So that was one challenge. And then getting visas to travel to India was a major, we wouldn't say a roadblock, a concern for a lot of international travelers. We helped them simplify this by working with the government, with the different ministries, and getting permissions so that they could easily apply for their visas, and we handhold them even during the application process. So this has helped us relieve the stress of applying for a visa and getting from the delegates who are international delegates. The other challenges we face is when we do conferences in Kerala, there is a lot of the union involvement, and to circumvent these things we have to adopt innovative measures at different times, so that we could say that there is no help coming from people who are working there, but we will have to do it everything ourselves. So we used to get our majority of the manpower from Chennai and just use the local people to wherever they can help us. The other major challenge was when COVID hit. Of course, this was a challenge for the entire world, and the first month we didn't even know what we were going to do, and we had a wonderful team that was with us during these times. So we then slowly navigated this problem by getting into the digital mode. Apart from managing just conferences, as a PCO, we also support associations in their day-to-day operations. So these operations could not be stopped just because of COVID. So we migrated to a digital platform and used technology to help people come together and have their conferences online. So this is how we navigated the 2 years of COVID. AI is definitely influencing and impacting the way we do conferences. At the moment, we use a lot of AI in the office to develop collaterals, to develop our communication. And the future, it will definitely impact the way we do conferences on site also. It might help with the registration process, simplify the process. Communications might become much more easier in the future. So at Marundeshwara, we use AI tools like the ChatGPT into our communication, and this has helped all our people develop better communication with the clients. Also, AI is being used by our design team to develop better collaterals and better marketing to publicize conferences.
We are very fortunate that we have built wonderful relationship with our clients. Now they are friends. So much so, just to say about a few of them. So one of the doctors, when we did the conference, who had a 8-year-old daughter, told me, Lalitha, whenever I have my daughter's wedding, you're going to conduct the wedding. You're going to be the wedding planner. That's a vote of confidence. And it did happen with another doctor whose son got married, and we were the ones organizing it. We saw this child grow, and when we were part of the wedding, it was a wonderful relationship. In the same way, we've been working with some of the organizations and doctors over very many years. We have Icons of Scarf, which we started working with them from 2004 with Dr. Sharda Menon, Dr. Tara, Dr. Padma. It's a conference which is held once in 2 years, and we are going to be doing their 11th edition this year. We're very proud to be part of it. We have the Neuro Update Chennai, which is again a conference, annual conference started in 2003. And we're very happy and proud to be part of it even now, and next year is in January. So Neurosciences India Group is one other group with Professor Krishnamurthy Srinivas, who actually put us on the national map as a PCO. And we are very happy to say we are still associated with his son and doing all their conferences. So for us, the relationship is very important. Not just doing a conference and dropping it. We continue that, and we continue to deliver what they want, and as they grow, we also grow with them in these programs.
Most of our clients have been with us over years, as she rightly said, and Professor K. Sridhar, Professor Krishnamurthy Srinivas and his son now E.S. Krishnamurthy, We have been associated with them for the last 20 years, and every year we've been doing conferences for them, and they've been very happy with our conferences, and that's why they've been associated with us. So that is, and all new conferences that come, we get these conferences as references from the doctors who have been with us over these years.
And because our getting into association management is an extension of our relationship with these doctors, where they have seen us work, and so they gave us the responsibility of being the secretariat for these very prestigious national associations. And we are very happy to say the number of associations we are managing has grown. To us, each of our delegate faculty are standout people who have made a difference to our way of thinking, the way we operate. But I'd like to talk about one or two people who impacted us in the beginning and how it's come back to us later. So in the 93 conference which we did, as I had mentioned, the main person is Dr. B.P. Doctor, who was with the Walter Reed Institute in Washington, D.C. He came down once to meet us in Chennai. Afterwards, all our communications were with the phone or by fax. And when we completed the conference, it gave us a satisfaction that we could do something like this. And Dr. B.P. Doctor, that was his name, was extremely appreciative of our effort. So one of the delegates who had attended this conference was Dr. Mesulam from USA. Years later, in 2018, when we were doing a neuro update in Taj Hotel, so this gentleman comes up to me and he said, "Years back, I've been here for the conference and you were part of it." And that was Dr. Mesulam. That was a wonderful moment for us, for the recognition as well as the feeling of satisfaction that we had impacted of somebody of that caliber. He was a very, very senior neurologist, to remember us and be part of our journey of growth.
Met many other interesting personalities. One of our neuro-oncology conferences, we had a neurosurgeon, a lady from Russia. And during our conversation with her, we find out that she is an Olympic medalist gymnast during her younger days. So these are some of the people who have graced some of the conferences, and we've been able to satisfy them.
One other person is a Nobel laureate who had come to give the oration. We were part of the T.S. Srinivasan oration from 2000. And this gentleman, I would say really a gentleman, because he was so nice, no airs for a Nobel laureate. We were all in awe, and he was so down to earth, and it was a wonderful meet.
There was another interesting incident and an interesting personality. This doctor was the head of the American Association of Urology, and he was one of the key speakers for the UCCon, which is the Urology National Conference. He was on board. He had taken off from the US and he was landing at 12:20 a.m. in Chennai. We received a call from the airline an hour before saying that this particular doctor doesn't have a visa to come into India. As Americans, they are allowed to travel without visas to a lot of countries, and his office didn't think that it was necessary for him to get a visa to India. So he landed, and then we had to make arrangements. We had to speak to the customs and immigrations in that 1 hour to make arrangements for him to come into the country on a temporary visa. So next day we had to go to Shastri Bhavan to the immigration office, get a temporary visa for a week for his duration of stay, and it was quite nice to see that he appreciated all that by sending a big bag of goodies once he was back in the US.
India is a country with such vast sightseeing, places of interest, and a lot of people from all over the globe want to come to India. When we do a conference organized in India where we invite a lot of international delegates to come, like we did the World Stroke Organization, it was fine because we did get about 200 to 300 international delegates. But when we go and bid for an international conference, I'll just mention one or two of them which we were part of the bid process. One was on pain management, the other one was maxillofacial surgery. The whole board, the delegates who were there when we were there representing our India as a venue, they were very appreciative. They wanted to come. But what was the step backward we had to take was because we didn't have the enough infrastructure. A hall convention center with a capacity of 7,000 to 10,000 people with breakaway sessions and breakaway dining area, restaurants at all. We really had not geared up to that. So we had to give up these conferences to either Singapore or Seoul. So, but I'm very happy to say our governments have been very proactive on this, and we've got
Times are changing now, and government with private participation is coming up with convention centers that can host world congresses, which was a challenge earlier. We have the Geo Convention Center, which is a private convention center in Mumbai, the Yasho Bhumi, Pragati Maidan, which has been totally renovated. So many more such convention centers are coming in different parts of the country, and that should help us get more international or global conferences into the country and more revenue for the country in terms of tourism, in terms of conferences, people traveling. Everybody should benefit from this. See, our partnership basically starts with hotels and convention centers where we have a good relationship across the country with major chains, and that helps us get preferential rates and preferential services for our clients. Apart from that, technology, we have collaboration with people who offer technology in terms of registration systems, in terms of mass mailing, like the MailChimp and other similar apps which offer convenience for us to send and propagate the conferences across the database that we have. We also have a good relationship with all our support enterprises like the AV teams across India. We have few collaborations with teams based in Delhi, teams based in the south, which help us give them a good experience in terms of the audiovisual experience during conferences. Similarly, at the exhibitions, we have collaborations and infrastructure, collaboration with people who have very good infrastructure in terms of the latest that they can offer to the companies that come and support our conferences and to promote their products at these exhibitions. The success of the conference basically depends a lot on what we do before the conference. Our work starts typically a year before the conference, or even sometimes a year and a half, 2 years before the conference. See, at times we start promoting a conference at the, if it is an yearly conference, at the previous year's conference, where we support them with promotion, setting up a booth there and promoting the conference and enticing registrations from the delegates who are attending that conference by offering them a very good preferential early bird rates. So that's where it starts. And then our regular meetings with the clients, and through Zoom nowadays, and earlier it used to be physical meetings, where we strategize on how to progress venue identification, and then communication, and then communication with the national and international speakers who come and enrich the conference, getting their tickets in place well in time so that we get good rates, and then talking to the delegates on a regular basis, getting them to register On the registration system itself, we have a follow-up where we follow up once a registration has failed on the system, talk to the delegate and I ask him why it has failed, and then make him register for the conference. So these type of follow-ups help us with getting the maximum for the conference organizers. This planning goes on till the days before the conference, when we have to coordinate with the venues, the convention centers, the audiovisual people, the exhibition people, the companies who come and participate in these conferences, taking care of their needs. So all these are managed and planned well in advance, so that during the conference we don't have any last minute hitches. There is a team which takes care of different aspects of the conference in our office, and within ourselves we have regular weekly meetings where we brainstorm with the entire team and come up with solutions for tricky problems then and there. So this way we move towards the conference, and on site we keep it as simple as possible, because most of our planning is done much before the conference. It starts a couple of days earlier, where we need to set up. The venues have to be available to us, and there are many challenges here because hotels do back-to-back events, and normally when our conferences start on a Friday, we get the venue only Thursday night. So our coordination with our vendors to ensure that everybody moves in and in a systematic manner, and ensure that everything is done within a very short span of time. Normally what takes about 10-12 hours, we try to do it within 4-5 hours, so that morning the conference is ready to start.
On site, as we have prepared for it, our work is very crucial only in handling the requests which comes from the clients, their needs at that point, to make sure that everything goes smoothly on time, whether it is the food being ready or the vehicles for pickup being ready. Everything is as it is pre-planned. We are able to handle the whole program much easier. When it comes to post-conference, it's very crucial that we are there to close all the, whether it is collecting the bills from the vendors, making sure the payments goes, or sending a thank you note to the faculty and delegates with their photographs for their memory bank. And now we've started sending it with them with a facial recognition app added, which is very much easy for them to pick up the pictures which they want, and they have it. This is just a few of them, but we have a lot of closing up of accounts. We even have in some conferences auditing it and presenting it. So we just don't end with that. It's a continuous ongoing process till the culmination of filing the returns and closing the account.
Over the years, we've been able to establish ourselves as a company that closes conferences very well, and we've been known to be very above board and in closing the financial part of the conferences at the end of the conference. And people have been appreciative of our efforts towards this goal. And to add to this, I would like to say that we also ensure compliance with all requisites by the government and by the secretariat, by the associations, and we are over the years got a name of being an organization which is above board and closes the financials of the conference in the best possible way.
So in Marundeshwara, we always say every conference, whether it is small or big, whether it's 10 people or 10,000 people, it's of great importance to us, and we treat every one program as on a personal level. We take that interest. So we've also met many challenges in this, and one such one was in 2016 when the Varda hit us in Chennai, and we had this massive national conference called NSI Con. It was just Post Varda, we were doing this conference. So you can imagine the various things which we had to take care of. Gautam?
Yeah, there were several people were calling us on wanting to know if the conference is happening or not. It was just 2 days before the conference that Varda hit Chennai, and most of Chennai was down for at least a week. We had a good support team, and our vendors supported us very well. We had to book all the generators that were available in the city to help us out. Our printing, everything, we moved to ITC Grand Chola, which was the venue of the conference, 3 days before to manage things, and we pulled it off. We had a good attendance. People came for the conference, and it is still being talked about as one of the landmark conferences of NSI Con, which has given us a lot of goodwill. Another incident is when we had a group of 20 people from the US who were coming for a tour to India. We had heavy rains and floods, and all flights were cancelled. We had to arrange transport for this team. The bus didn't turn up because there was knee-deep water. We somehow managed to reach the airport, and ours was the only flight that landed in 3 hours before three for the next day, till the next day. Ours was the only flight that landed, and all other flights were cancelled or rerouted. And they landed. We didn't have a transport, so we had to organize through the local yellow top taxis that were there. So we arranged taxis for them. We had to arrange for a guest house because the hotels were all closed because of the floods. We had to take care that it was a multi-story guest house which we put them up in. We moved them there, and then a couple of days later, once everything subsided, we moved them to the next destination.
Gautam actually waded through a chest-deep water to reach airport so that these guests who are coming will be welcomed and not feel stranded. So that is Marundeshwara for you.
Exhibition is an integral part of all conferences. Companies come there to display their products and market their products to the attendees. So we give them a platform, and we make them feel comfortable, take care of their needs, and there is a team which coordinates with them from 2 months, 3 months before, asking them for their requirements and taking care of the requirements and ensuring that they are all implemented on site. We've also done some public awareness program where it's called, in 2000 we did a program called the GUT 2000, where we had a whole range of companies, labs and diagnostic companies participating, and this was a public program attended by over 20,000 people over 2 days, and they come and they had their checkups, they had their various things done there. So this was one of major exhibitions that we coordinated and implemented, apart from exhibitions being part of every conference that we have done over 31 years.
Going forward, Marundeshwara is looking at growing manifold, not only at the national level, at the international level, where we have had some inquiries from some of the Southeast Asian countries. But our main aim is the customer satisfaction. We come from a hospitality background where we always put the customer before anything else, and we want that human touch to be always an integral part of Marundeshwara. Yes, we are going to use all the technology which has come in, the AI and other aspects of it. That is going to help us to serve our delegates, our faculty, our organizers much better. But we can proudly say Marundeshwara is known for the human touch and going that extra mile.
As rightly said, the human touch is very important. Technology can help us make our work easier, make it more comfortable for our invitees, make it more easier for us to service them. But the human touch, which has always been our backbone, will be there, and we will continue to raise our standards to give the clients the best of experience in terms of conferences in the future. Yeah, as she has been talking, our vision is to make impactful and better conferences over the years, but at the same time embracing technology that will make these conferences much more convenient for us and for the participants. Also, not losing out on the human touch, which has been the backbone for us over these years.